So there's obviously a lot of excitement about DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento.
Yes.
And we focus so much on what he's able to do offensively.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's disgusting. Plays at his own pace. Gets buckets. 20 points per game.
Can play make.
For 11 straight seasons.
Oh.
Can play make.
Yes.
Doesn't miss games.
All the things we've talked about.
But today, I wanted to focus more on the defensive side because some people talk about his defense, go, the defense isn't good. So we're going to dive into some plays that maybe not so good, but also some plays that maybe surprise you with what he's able to do.
I like it.
Let's dive in. I think one thing you're going to notice with DeMar DeRozan is there's going to be some matchups that are problematic, especially when defending guards, guys that can get a step on him or guys with speed. And you see it here with Brunson getting a step on him.
And I mean, you say Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson gets a step on everybody, right? You know, but you're exactly right. That play, exactly right there. It looked like his feet a little flat, legs a little heavy, maybe. But again, it's Jalen Brunson.
Absolutely. And then in this matchup against Toronto, Dennis Schroeder gets a step on him, gets the switch, and then attacks it.
And you can see he thought he could recover with his size there. And I know later on we're going to see that actually happen a little bit more. But he's got to make sure to not just rely on the recovery.
And then I've noticed this watching him a couple of times. Sometimes his closeouts can be a little funky. He definitely can contest, but on this one, closes out to run the guy off the three-point line. Bridges here, but then Bridges gets a step, gets to a spot, and that's just an easy look right there. It looked like DeRozan gave up middle. And you don't want to do that.
And his feet just weren't really choppy, weren't really active when he was trying to come close out there. And Bridges did a good job of taking the ball quick and going middle.
Now, the one thing I've noticed watching him, Morgan, is that even if he does get beat, like he can find a way to get back in the play. This is a situation between Chicago and Miami during the play-in. And I thought he did a good job here, making sure to compete against Hero.
Okay, so he gets the switch, and then obviously Hero gets positioning right in front of him, not only with his dribble, but even with his body. But then DeRozan, like you said, does a good job of recovering, competing, making sure that he was not going to let Hero get something easy off in there.
He says, get that shit out of there.
Yep, that's what he said.
Now, we showed a play against Brunson earlier, and this is interesting to watch because if you look at the score, it's a close game, right? Overtime, 2-point game, and you see this sequence. DiVincenzo and Hart are saying, let's go ahead and get DeRozan in action here. And so they get what they want. What's it going to look like this time? DeRozan is crafty. And that's one thing that jumps out to me about him is his basketball IQ. Like, okay, I may not have the ability to stay in front of these guys, but what can I do?
Deuce, we've had these conversations with so many different people. Sometimes when you're not the most athletic one out there, there's still other things you can do as a smart basketball player. And you saw him being active with his hands, reaching around Jalen Brunson, knowing that he still was going to make life a little bit more difficult for him and disrupt the play.
This one, he is going to be matched up on a switch with DeJounte Murray. And this could be problematic too, right? DeJounte has an ability here to attack. He got the cross, but this is DeRozan using his length to contest the shot and make it a little more challenging.
Yeah, great crossover right there. Way to get your space and to try and get yours in and out bucket too, right? But DeRozan, I mean, you want to talk about his length, his size alone. That's something that we keep talking about, especially against some of these guards. He might not have the speed, but he will have that size. He will have that wingspan.
Now, these next three plays are kind of fun to watch. It's a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ended up going to overtime, but late in this game, it's a 1-point game. And Darius Garland is like, I am hunting DeMar DeRozan here. And I think DeMar does a hell of a job getting in a defensive stance, staying in front of him, and forcing a difficult shot.
Wow. Tried to get him on the hezzy. DeMar just stayed with it. He didn't fall for it. He definitely gets on his hip a little bit here because obviously he's going against another guard that is getting in front of him, being a little bit speedier than he is. But at the same time, he even had his help defender come on over from that dunker spot as well and disrupt the layup.
And then the next sequence down, you got Donovan Mitchell. And what I love about this play is they want to get DeRozan into action. You'll see DeRozan here. He'll point to Kobe White and say, no, you switch this. so they're not going to get me in the action. But of course, Mitchell says, no, we're going to go ahead and try to get you in the action. It doesn't ultimately work, and Donovan Mitchell turns it over. So this play is just more showing his basketball IQ. And then the final play from this sequence, Darius Garland has the rock, and he goes, I'm going to go ahead and test DeRozan again.
Garland does a much better job of getting to the middle. And you see DeRozan every single time, though, does a better job. If these guards are going to get to their spot, he's at least going to contest the shot. Ultimately, it makes it harder on the second line of defense sometimes and or on himself. But if he's not going to be the fastest person out there, he can do these type of things too to make sure that the ball is not going into the basket.
And in situations where he's defending guards that maybe don't have speed, like here against John Conchar, he's a little more comfortable.
A little bit more comfortable indeed. I mean, he's not even necessarily digging at the basketball, being active, but he's getting his body up in him, and then he's making sure that he's going to shatter the basketball as soon as he tries to pass it away.
Now, here's some plays with players who are more his size. Here he is against Miami Heat rookie Jaime Jaquez last year. I just like this play because he switched and then he contested.
Yeah, he switched, and you see that his body size, once again, his size out there is big enough to have another bigger guy go on up into him, even if it ends up being in the paint closer and closer to the basket.
Another play against Jaquez here. This one's cool because they are just battling for position here. Tough pass. Jaquez goes, okay, am I going to shoot the three? No, I'm putting it on the floor.
It's like you said earlier, Deuce. I mean, his ability to stay with some of these bigger guys that don't have the same type of quickness that maybe their guards have, it's a better matchup for DeMar DeRozan. I mean, it's the same reason why, though, you're seeing these teams try and seek him out.
Here's one play against Minnesota where he's matched up against Ant. And I think he does a good job staying with him on that baseline, and that leads to a turnover.
It's the size again, right? I mean, Ant, not a great offensive play right there. He should have been a little bit stronger, maybe a little power move, reverse. But there was help there. And on top of the help, there was that size again from DeMar DeRozan, not only using his chest, moving his feet, but also making sure to use his length, getting his arms up.
We talk about him going up against bigger guys. Well, the next three plays are him defending OG Anunoby, and I really like how he defended in this situation, taking the physicality, Morgan.
Yeah, you see his help defender too, cutting off baseline, which allows DeMar DeRozan to recover and really use his strength here. You see OG trying to pound. DeMar DeRozan not only keeps playing with his chest, but then does a good job of just playing true, getting his hand up, contesting that shot.
I'm not trying to pretend like OG is prime Kawhi Leonard offensively, but he has a size advantage here on DeRozan, and I thought DeRozan did a great job on this play, just crowding him as he tries to attack.
Well, look at him moving his feet once again. We know that OG can get by guys. I'm not saying he's the most explosive, but we've seen what he's able to do, especially his ability to get into the paint and create. But DeMar DeRozan moves his feet and makes him think twice.
Leads to a turnover. Now this last play is a little bit of a chaotic sequence. Second chance opportunity for the Knicks. Watch DeRozan everywhere. And one thing you're going to notice watching him, he loves his poke away.
Knicks love getting second chance opportunities. And right there, he was going to get beat, right? I mean, he didn't know where his player was. So he goes back and relies on recovery and pokes it away.
So we've seen him against guards. We've seen him against maybe guys more his size. But in these next few plays, you're going to see him against some bigger guys. Like in this play, slow-mo, Kyle Anderson. I think DeRozan does a really nice job. Hey, you want to play off him. Make him put it on the floor and do something. And look what it leads to.
Well, look how far, too, initially DeMar was playing off slow-mo. He's saying, shoot the ball. I know you got some bigs in here. You got other people that can create, willing cutters. They're going to try and do some other thing in that open space. Kyle Anderson says, okay, well, I'm going to do something in that open space. And although he gets all the way to the restricted area, DeMar does a great job staying vertical and contesting that shot.
Here's another example against a big, this time against Al Horford. He loves taking the three-point shot, but Horford's a smart player. He said, I'm going to go ahead and go to work. And again, DeRozan getting crafty, just knocking the ball away. I think he does a good job in these situations, especially against bigs, just battling and trying to make life more challenging.
Yeah, I mean, Horford tries to get him on the pump fake. He doesn't go for it. And then he obviously does a great job of getting into the paint once again. But what we've seen from a lot of these plays with DeMar DeRozan is that if someone is going to get that far, get that deep, he's got to make something happen. And that's where you see his competitive spirit comes through, whether it's ripping the ball away, poking it away, or just making sure that he's playing some honest basketball and just being as strong as he can be. And
kind of the same thing with Miles Turner here. Miles Turner is what, 7'12"?
I think so. Yeah. If you're Turner, you're excited when you see this matchup, right?
Maybe
you're not
too excited.
You're not seeing the help fully come over, and maybe he was going to do a spin back the other way to go baseline, but DeRozan didn't give him any time to think, and instead was just super active as soon as he put the ball on the floor to take it away.
And then this last play is just good help defense on a big where he's trying to break things up and make life maybe harder for Capella here. Usually Capella is going to jam this home. He gets there in time.
And that's what you're hoping to see a lot from him on this King squad. Just playing some smart team basketball, some smart team defense, because although he might lack some of the athleticism and some of the things that you do want to see out of him as a defender, he's going to be able to do so many other things with having a good team defense.
So there's our brief look at DeMar DeRozan's defense. I think there's a lot of good things in there. You know, I think there are going to be some mismatches.
Yes.
For sure. But you hope you have some pieces around him that can make up for it. Keegan Murray, who showed a lot of growth defensively.
Absolutely.
I think De'Aaron Fox is another level he can achieve. And what Keon Ellis did last year, you could see why it would work. And I think there was enough good in there that you go, oh, there could be some favorable matchups in some regards.
You see the leap that the Kings already took defensively last year, and then you see Monty McNair and the organization making those tweaks in this offseason. I mean, some of those tweaks are going to hopefully help your defense. You know they're going to help you on offense, but you also want to see them benefit you on the defensive end as well. And I think under Mike Brown, yeah, we could... I'm not going to act like they can creep up to that 10th spot, but I have a feeling they can hang out in the middle defensively for a while.
My thing with DeRozan is he's a smart player. He's active and he's competitive. Mm-hmm. And when he is locked in a competitive situation, I think he can have some nice moments defensively where you're not looking at him going, oh no, this is awful or anything like that. He's smart enough to play some good team defense. Let us know what you thought of some of these clips. What do you think about the Kings defense as a whole? They showed signs last year after the All-Star break, after March 1st, that they could be a really damn good defensive team. Where do you think they stack up in the NBA? Let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo, they tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, the podcast that